I was sitting in my favorite cushioned armchair, watching a soccer game on TV, Borussia Dortmund versus Bayern Munich, if I remember correctly, and trying not to think about anything else, when my dear wife Anna walked past me on her way out. "Tom, I'm going out tonight," she announced nonchalantly. "Yes, my dear." Well, what else could I say? I was surprised that she had told me of her plans at all. Usually my ever-loving wife just left without a word. Without you, of course. On her way out, she stopped to smile cruelly at me. Of course. That's how our marriage was shaping up. She horned and humiliated me. She had lots of sex with different men while I was completely cut off. I put up with it. That's just the way things are. I'll hook up with some guy and let him fuck me while you sit at home waiting for me to come home. How do you like that? She, of course, tried to stall the conversation to get the desired hurt reaction from me. I'm happy for you. It was discussing such things. She tried to hurt me as much as possible, and my role was to treat it favorably and just take the blows. She seemed to really enjoy this game, maybe even more than sex with other men. I'm sure she did, you spineless weakling. You really like it, don't you? Maybe, my dear. I haven't decided yet. You're such a pathetic weak. A real man wouldn't enjoy being a cuckold like you do. I'm so pleased to be married to such a weakling. You really are too weak to handle a confident woman like me, aren't you? Probably, yes. Her look said, I've got you by the balls, asshole, and I like to give them a little twist. And she was absolutely right. There was nothing I could or wanted to do about her infidelity. She liked to test how much I was willing to put up with, and so far she hadn't found my limit. You're not a man, you're a buffoon. Her contempt I felt almost physically. Yes, darling, I said. I even tried to smile. Don't wait for me, kook. And with that, she was gone, my always beloved, beautiful wife. Well, she was no longer as beautiful as she had been 5 years ago when I met her. She was a charming, seductive young lady. Not model thin, but nice roundness in all the right places. She was friendly, but not overly intelligent or educated girl next door. Easy to like, easy to spend time with, easy to enjoy in bed if you didn't mind that she wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. I realized we were fundamentally unsuited for each other, but things were going well at first. The prenup was never a problem. I just didn't need one, and she, of course, never mentioned it. I wasn't even sure if she knew what the word meant. Well, things have changed a lot since then, that's for sure. 1,826 minus 1,793 equals 33. That was an important number. 33. I thought she had explored all the ways to hurt me, but it turns out she was pretty creative. I'm thinking about making a porno movie and distributing it freely on the internet, honey. What do you think? Wouldn't that be great? Oh my God. A quiet Saturday afternoon was already history. Anna was clearly in the mood to torture me again and came up with an exciting new idea on how to do it. If it makes you happy, go for it. Of course, it would involve sex and swallowing, something I've never done for you. Of course, darling. That's probably expected in a movie like this. My lovers get it anyway, so I'm used to it by now. She actually looked happy when she was dumping it all on me. I understand. Good for you. Of course, people might recognize me as your wife. That would be hard for me. I bet. Smirking, she left me and headed for her bedroom, a room I hadn't slept in quite some time. I thought about my marriage. My wife and I hadn't had sex in almost 2 years. She certainly had plenty, as she was constantly cheating. Then began a phase of ridicule and purposeful humiliation. It was getting harder and harder. But I couldn't accept that I was going to lose her. I just couldn't. I was desperate for this woman. I really couldn't lose her. 1,826 minus 1,798 equals 28. The number 28 sounded quite normal, actually. Hi, honey, she chirped sweetly as she entered our house. Her cheerful mood usually meant she was about to administer one of her special cruelties. Hi, Anna. I tried to sound as chipper as possible until I saw that she wasn't alone. This guy seemed big, friendly, the kind of guy you imagine a typical construction worker to be. That's Martin, honey. I'm just hanging out with him. He's a construction worker. Oh, I see. Hello, Martin. Tom? He was visibly tense as he took my offered hand, which was a little surprising. This guy had nothing to be afraid of. I'm not a very big guy, and I haven't been in a fight since I graduated high school. He could probably clean my watch without spilling his beer if he had one. See, we're planning on having a nice afternoon of fun, then we'll go out to dinner, maybe a movie or a dance, maybe meet up with some friends. You know, all the things a woman does with her lover. Okay. Chuckles. Have fun, sweetheart. Martin looked at me like I had two heads. I couldn't blame him. He seemed like a decent guy. At least he was uncomfortable with me being a cuckold. His sympathy wasn't anything I could take for granted, something I'd had to learn over the past few months. Some of her lovers were real assholes and amused themselves by insulting me as much as they could. But of course I had to tolerate it if it helped me keep my wife. Tom, darling, why don't you make yourself and Martin a drink? And I'll have a quick shower so I can be nice and fresh for my lover. Of course, darling. Anna disappeared upstairs, and I was left sitting in the living room with Martin in awkward silence. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore. I was used to the situation by now and knew exactly what to expect. I'm sorry, Tom, I don't understand. What exactly is the problem? You seem like a decent guy. You're turned on by this cuckold shit? It's hard to explain. It's more complicated than it looks. Dude, why are you doing this? Well, it's her choice, isn't it? She's a grown woman. As her husband, I'm obligated to support her. Okay, but why are you being so cool about this? It must hurt like hell. Trust me, it does. I think that's why she keeps doing it. Why don't you just leave her? I can't lose her. It's just not possible. I need that woman. Poor guy. Dude, you look good. I bet you have to fight off girls with a stick. Why don't you leave her? Like I said, I want to stay with her. I need her. No other woman is good enough for me. It's hard to explain. Dude, sure, she's decent looking, but let's be honest, she's not very attractive. She's a decent sleeper, but she's a hell of a bitch. And she could use to lose a few pounds. You're right. She's put on a few pounds lately. You're right. Why her? You're a whole league above her. Don't torture yourself like that. It's hard to watch. And yet you still have her. Yeah, I'm just giving you some advice. It doesn't matter if I have her or not. She's still gonna cheat on you, if not with me, with some other guy. Yeah, she will. I took another sip of my much-needed drink. This whole situation was very frustrating. Once again, I had to unsuccessfully try to explain to a complete stranger why I was the wimp of the century. Just at that moment, Anna reappeared. Ah, there you are. You two seem to be getting along quite well. It's so nice to have a willing cuckold serving drinks to my studs. Maybe I should buy you an apron or something. I swallowed hard. I was hurting even more than usual while she was happy and looking for new and exciting ways to hurt me. Tom, honey, as you surely remember, we haven't had sex in about 2 years. Yes, I'm fully aware of that fact. You know, I've decided it's time to start thinking about kids. How is that a reason for not having sex? No, but that's how I got off the pill. I couldn't risk getting you pregnant, could I? It would be ridiculous to pass on your genes. I wouldn't want my son to be a worthless cuckold like you. Actually, I stopped taking the pill about 2 months ago. And honey, I bought one of those pregnancy tests, and it just confirmed that I am indeed pregnant. Isn't that great? You're going to be a daddy. A real man did it for you. Oh, it was a new kind of escalation. Another guy knocked her up and she announced it while one of her lovers was in the room with me. I had to sit down, and I didn't feel very good. Are you serious? Of course I'm serious, honey. I've always been honest with you. I chose not to comment on that. So who's daddy? You are. You're going to be the daddy. You're going to raise the kid, ride him, teach him, pay for him. She had the nerve to giggle at that. Okay, then we're going upstairs to have some fun, have a nice evening. Martin looked at me pityingly as he followed her upstairs. 1,826 minus 1,811 equals 15. 15, 15, 15. Sounds pretty good to me. The next morning, I was sitting at the breakfast table sipping my black morning salvation drink. "Good morning, honey," Anna said as she entered the room. She definitely looked tired. She had probably had a grueling night. "Good morning, Anna." To my surprise, she kissed me on the cheek. "Is there some coffee left?" "Yeah, in the coffee pot." "Good." We sipped our hot coffee in silence for a while. "Tom, I'm sorry about yesterday." "What?" I was surprised. It was the first time Anna apologized. "I know I treated you like crap and I know you don't deserve it. But that's the way our marriage works, right?" I just nodded. "You're so helpless when you have to put up with everything I do. I just can't stop hurting you. It makes me feel so alive, so strong. I love dominating you so much." "I understand that, honey. I know. I think it's the best way for you, too. You like it for some reason." I didn't say anything. I had nothing to say. We both knew where we stood. In the beginning, our marriage was completely different. We loved each other so much. We had so much fun. Everything was perfect. I still get warm feelings when I think back to that time. You know, it doesn't really matter who the biological father of a child is. So you were serious about that? Yeah. What did you think? That I was just bluffing? Her tone turned hard again. That moment of sympathy was just the eye of the hurricane. "No, probably not." "No, of course not." "And you know what the best part is? I went to one of those immigrant shelters when I was fertile and let them foolishly screw me. Trust me, they couldn't believe their luck when I told them to knock me up. It was fun and very satisfying for everyone but you. You know sex to make a baby is so much more fun." "Oops, sorry. Of course, you can't speak from experience." She giggled again. "Honey, you've been fucked by complete strangers without condoms, and you're not concerned about possible diseases? No. Aren't you concerned that you'll be ridiculed by friends and family when it turns out that our baby doesn't look anything like you at all?" "That would certainly be difficult." "Oh, it will be, but you'll do it for me. You're gonna hurt for me. Because you need it as much as I do, and I need it so badly. This is so much fun. There's nothing you can do about it. I can do whatever I want to you." With those words, she left the room. 1,826 minus 1,812 equals 14. I hadn't seen her for almost 2 days and figured she was out somewhere having fun with someone. What a strange marriage. But I needed her, desperately needed her. No other woman could replace her. She was the only one for me, despite her cruelty. I was getting worried and thinking of putting out a bolo for her when suddenly she burst into the living room. "Tom, my credit card is limited to $10,000 a month." "No hello, no nothing, straight to the point." "Yes, dear. That's the way it's always been." "It's not gonna work. I need another 8,000 this month." "Oh, why?" "Although it's none of your business, since I own half of it anyway. I'll tell you, I'm going on a cruise with Martin, and I'm paying for both of us." "No, that's even better. You're paying. You're paying for a dream vacation with my lover. It's perfect. It's your ultimate humiliation." "I see. How long are you going on vacation?" 2 weeks in the Caribbean." "Sounds good. When are you going to leave?" Today. It's a last-minute offer. Would you be a dear and wire the money, please?" "Absolutely, sweetheart. I just want you to be happy. You're such a good little kitty cat. I'm gonna reward you someday. Maybe you'll even get a chance to touch me. Maybe I will. Or maybe you won't." She giggled as she left the room. This vacation seemed like a good idea to me. 1,826 minus 1,814 equals 12. 12 is less than 14. Oh my God. 12 has become my new favorite number. I spent 2 weeks at home alone while my wife spent a nice and undoubtedly sex-filled vacation in the sun. I had a lot of paperwork to do and quite a few things to move. "Oh, honey, I'm back." "Hi, Anna. Did you have a good time?" "Oh, I had a wonderful time. Thank you for that. You're such a sweet cuckold." "What? Did my dear wife thank me for something? Must have been a hell of a vacation." "Tom, could we sit in the living room? There's something I need to tell you." "Sure, Anna." I followed her and noticed she'd put on a few pounds again. She was no longer nicely rounded, but was on the verge of fat. Perhaps it was the result of pregnancy, but more likely it was just the result of good food on a cruise ship. Perhaps her constant sexual activity would soon come to a natural end if she continued to gain weight and lose her attractiveness. She indicated for me to sit next to her, but I opted for a cushioned chair. She was surprised at this small act of defiance and pouted briefly, but immediately relented. Tom, I know I haven't been as loving as I could have been lately. You have endured it courageously, and it made me realize that I may have to change my views. Okay, well, what's going on here? Has my wife had an epiphany? Tom, I plan on being a better wife to you in the future. Our child needs a complete family. I need you as a father, not just in appearance, but as a real devoted father. Oh, she needed me to take care of her baby so she could have fun. That's why she had such a wonderful change of heart. So you plan on being faithful to me from now on? End my role as a cuckold? Don't be silly. Of course, real men will still have me, but I'm not going to rub your nose in it as much as I have in the past. And honey, you're going to enjoy it too, at least once in a while. Isn't that nice? Oh, that was unexpected. I wasn't prepared for having to have sex with her again. It would be like a fresh start for us. We could treat each other like we did in the beginning. I see. You're so calm. I expected you to be happier about this. Anna, I'm not so sure about that. Tom, I know things haven't been easy for you lately, but I'll change. You'll see. What kind of time limit do you have in mind? What? There's no time limit. We have to be a real loving family, at least while I'm home, like the ones on TV. Just the occasional lover? Yes. And Tom, my second child might even be yours. Biologically, I mean. It could happen. I see. I see? That's all you have to say? I thought you loved me and would be happy that our marriage would change. So you think I love you, after everything you've done to me? Now she looked a little worried. This is clearly not how she planned this conversation. Tom, you always said you needed me? I did, but I never said I loved you. At least not for a while. Tom, isn't it the same thing? She seemed completely confused. No, it's not. I needed you, but I don't love you anymore. You see, when I was 24, I was a total bachelor. I won't say I was some kind of man whore, but close to it. I had a lot of short-term relationships. I never tried to hurt anyone, but I had no shortage of attractive women who were interested in me and no intention of settling down. You know I'm not a quarterback, I'm not a huge guy. I'm more interested in the finer aspects of life. Art, cooking, classical music. Yet quite a few women, even beautiful women, have always been interested in me for some reason, so I took advantage of the opportunities I had. You're a handsome man, Tom. Thanks. You never told me that before. Anyway, I had an Uncle Albert. We liked each other very much, but he always disliked my lifestyle. He was always trying to convince me to settle down with one woman, the love of my life. I didn't really argue with him, but at the time, that love of my life just wasn't there. So I, to his annoyance, continued to play the field. Then he got sick, seriously sick, and realized he only had a few weeks left. He told me that he would love to be at my wedding, but that obviously wasn't going to happen. But he could still arrange it. I didn't realize what he meant at the time and just let it pass by. I was too busy saying goodbye to my friend. I knew he was rich, though he lived a simple life. But it wasn't until after his death, when his will was read, that I realized how rich he was. You know, he was a bore, but still, we liked each other. Unlike the rest of the family, the resentment was complete and mutual. Anna listened to my story with rapt attention. I hadn't seen her so attentive in a long time. The will said I would get his money. Quite a lot of money, actually. 9 figures like money. What are 9 figures? North of 100 million? Oh, what? She looked delighted, as if she was already contemplating how to spend it. There was one joke, though. Albert always had it, which was why everyone hated him so much. He had a kind of black humor. The joke was that all the money would immediately become mine. That's important for various legal reasons. But everything but 10 million had to be parked somewhere, controlled by a trusted person, and out of my reach. If I had married before age 25 and had been married for at least 5 years, all of that money would have become mine without any additional conditions. If I failed to do so, all but 10 million would go to some tree huggers. So I needed someone to be married to for at least 1,826 days. Wow, and that's why you married me? Yeah. Out of nowhere, you showed up. Beautiful. Nice. You seemed to like me, and you practically threw yourself after me. It was the perfect opportunity, and I didn't have much time anyway. But don't get me wrong, I really liked you, and I combined business with pleasure. The first 2 years were pure bliss. Then you unfortunately found a bank receipt for a $10 million bill. I could stop working since I didn't have to pretend anymore. I guess you assumed that financially you were in no danger because in the event of a divorce, regardless of the reason, half would belong to you. Unfortunately, because of that, you changed for the worse almost immediately. The first year was still tolerable. I knew you were starting to cheat, but you were careful. Then, after we had been married for 3 years, things got really bad. You started to openly humiliate and insult me, but I knew what I wanted. I didn't need your love. I just needed to stay married so you wouldn't file for divorce. It wasn't a marriage anymore, it was hard work. I'll get a lot of money, but I think I've earned every penny. Wow, Tom. So when are these 5 years going to end? That would be our 5th anniversary, my dear wife. Certainly a day that's marked in big letters on your calendar, wouldn't it? That would be, oh my God, it was the day before yesterday. I forgot our 5th anniversary. Oh man, what a bad wife I've become. Can you forgive me? She felt the situation had changed, and not in her favor. You were too busy having your lover to remember our anniversary. She sighed, but couldn't deny it. It doesn't make any difference. This marriage is just a sham, and it's been that way for a long time. I used you, and you used me. There's nothing to forgive, no hard feelings. Tom, is there anything we can salvage from this? No, she seemed a little sad, which surprised me. Isn't that weird? I came home wanting to change our marriage for the better, and I found I'd already destroyed it a long time ago. Yeah. She suddenly looked happy again. But at least I'll get $5 million. That's a decent sum, I'd say. What makes you think you'll get $5 million? Well, if you divorce me, I get half your money. Anna, legally I own over $100 million. Oh, wow. She even squealed a little bit. Under other circumstances, that would be nice. But you're not getting any of it. Well, Buster, my lawyers will take care of that. Her tone turned hard again. It was amazing how quickly this woman could change her mood. You see, my dear, under German law, marital property is not divided in the event of divorce. Only the additional value accumulated during the marriage. I already owned everything before we were married, and my fortune has even diminished a little. So you won't get anything from my estate. What? Tom, are you serious? I didn't know. Tom, what can I say? I could never tell you that you wouldn't get anything in the divorce. I just couldn't risk changing things. I didn't know how you'd react if I told you the facts of life. Keeping the situation stable and staying married was my only goal, so I had to tolerate and avoid any change. So if you divorce me, I get nothing. You don't even get alimony. I can prove you cheated because I've been following you long enough to prepare for this. And being pregnant makes it even easier. With this behavior, you have no chance of getting child support. But our child will have needs. Can you really just abandon our child like that? Well, my dear wife, we both know it's not my child. Sure, you can sue for child support and you'll probably get it, but you'd have to sue the biological father, not me. Tom, it was some kind of refugee. I don't even know which one, and I don't know any of their names. It sounds like a complicated situation, my dear wife. Tom, have mercy on me. She looked utterly desperate now, but somehow I couldn't find any satisfaction in that. I didn't care anymore. One way or another, she was part of my past. Maybe someday I would even laugh at this marriage, but now was not that day. Please don't just kick me out. I know I haven't been the perfect wife for you lately. I mean, no sex for 2 years. No sex? Are you sure about that? You know, my dear, while you've been dating, I've been busy too. I met a lovely woman named Lily. Like me, she's interested in art and music. She's not the pudgy woman you've turned into, but a graceful and elegant beauty. We have spent countless evenings dancing, at the theater, at the opera, at high-end restaurants, or at classical music concerts. So, you cheated too? she said triumphantly, as if that could make a difference. I didn't say that. Such things are expected to be excluded at the opera. I smiled understandingly to let her know that I was having a good time with Lily, with the gentle and caring woman who had been my anchor for the past 2 years. She had waited patiently for me. She has built my confidence time and time again with the woman who is the true love of my life, a woman with whom I have made tender love over and over again, a woman who is educated and can hold a meaningful conversation, unlike the brash and plain Anna. You know, it was Lily who convinced me not to kick you out with nothing. You can pack as many of your clothes as you want into the fancy BMW SUV I gave you 2 years ago. Anything you leave behind, I will ritually burn. I don't want to ever touch your stuff again. For the same reason you can keep your car and sell it when you need money. I don't want to touch it. I'm even going to sell this house. It reeks of your presence. Do you hate me that much? I didn't know if hate was the right term for how I felt, but I wasn't going to think about it. It didn't matter anymore, and all thoughts of her seemed futile. She looked thoughtful, tears in her eyes. We were both silent for a long time. It was the end. We had come to the parting of the ways, finally. I was a fool, wasn't I? Yes, I replied softly. I had a handsome, caring, and rich man, and I started playing my dominance games, feeling invincible because of a legal misunderstanding. And now I've lost everything. Yeah, you had your fun and paid for it with the loss of a good life. I, on the other hand, have been through hell and will be rewarded with a good life. I see. How soon do I have to leave? Divorce is on the way. Please pack your things and leave within the hour. Here's $2,000 cash to keep you afloat until you sell the car. You can thank Lily for that, but that's all I'm willing to do for you. Thanks for that, too. I'll be out of your hair soon. Tom? Yeah. You know what's weird? For some reason, I've always loved you. You're right. What? It's weird. Okay, Albert, I survived your ordeal. 1826 to 1828 =(-2). 1828 days living with the wife from hell, that leaves -2. Your last joke was unintentionally the cruelest.